Have you ever imagined waking up one morning and there are no tiny footsteps running through the house? No voice calling, Grandma, just you and the quiet ticking of the clock. After 60, many of us still hope for the warmth of family, kids dropping by, grandkids laughing in the living room. But one day, it hits you. Your children have their own lives, their own families, their own desires. Your grandchildren grow up faster than you ever expected, and you're still sitting by the window, waiting for a call, a visit, quietly, with a heart that feels just a little heavier than yesterday. You don't say it out loud, but deep down, it hurts. And the hardest part isn't that your children don't come home. It's that you no longer dare to call them first. Have you ever felt that way? Ever wondered, is this what aging is, just learning how not to ask? Here's the truth. You can live with peace, joy, and purpose, even if no one's knocking at your door. Not out of bitterness, not because you don't love your family, but because you deserve to live with dignity, freedom, and meaning. Every day you still have. A Harvard study that followed people for over 80 years found this. Happiness after 60 isn't defined by how often the kids visit. It's shaped by how much life you create for yourself. And to build that kind of life, you don't need much, just 5 things, 5 pillars that help you stand strong even when you're standing alone. If this speaks to you, tap like to save it and subscribe so we can meet again. This channel is a space for stories, support, and steps toward joyful aging. Now let's begin. The 5 pillars of standing strong, even without relying on family. Pillar 1, financial independence. Let's start with something simple, but powerful. You feel a sharp pain, maybe in your back, your chest, your joints. You should see a doctor, but you don't, because you know your kids are stretched thin, mortgages, tuition, bills. So you stay quiet. Tell yourself it'll pass. But here's the conséquence. Every time you stay silent, you give away a little piece of your freedom, just because you no longer bring home a paycheck. In a national AARP survey, over 60% of Americans over 60 said they feel ashamed or hesitant asking their kids for financial help. Not because they aren't loved, but because they're afraid of becoming a burden. And that fear, it doesn't just steal your comfort, it shrinks your life. Ms. Linda, 68, from Chicago, shared this. I relied entirely on my son for medicine, groceries, even bills. Then I overheard my granddaughter say she had to quit piano lessons because Mom and Dad are stretched. That broke me, not because I spend a lot, but because I realized I was costing them more than money. I was costing them freedom. Dependence isn't just about dollars, it's about feeling like you need permission, just to live. If you don't want to feel like a guest in your own family, what you need first isn't a big house or huge savings. You need a little income that gives you choices. Maybe it's a light part-time job, babysitting, bookkeeping, tutoring online. It won't make you rich, but it reminds you you still matter. Even a modest account just for you can change everything. Want to see a doctor? Go. No need to ask. Want to buy a gift? Do it. No explanations needed. Want to treat a friend to coffee? Enjoy without thinking, this month I'm borrowing from the kids. Financial independence is not about wealth, it's about respect for yourself. It's the first pillar to aging with dignity, and it lets you stand tall without bowing to anyone, not even your own children. Pillar 2, proactive health, not reactive care. Money can buy care, but only you can choose to protect your health before it's too late. Have you noticed? Most older adults don't go to the doctor until they have to. When they can't breathe at night, when they can't stand without holding on to something, when the pain keeps them from sleeping, and suddenly the kids have to drop everything. Cancel meetings, take days off work, rearrange their lives, and you feel it again. I'm a burden. But this doesn't happen overnight. It starts with all the little times you say, it's nothing. The dizziness you ignore, the shortness of breath you shrug off, the checkup you delay because the kids are busy. But sometimes it's not nothing. According to the National Institute on Aging, 80% of people over 65 are diagnosed with chronic illness only after the disease has already progressed. because they waited too long. They waited for symptoms to scream, waited until they couldn't ignore it, waited for someone to notice. Dr. Linda Harrington, an internal medicine specialist, told the story of Walter, a 72-year-old from Chicago. He always said, "I feel fine, I'm strong as a horse." He hadn't seen a doctor in years. Then one day he collapsed in the bathroom. He was diagnosed with low blood sugar and early-stage kidney failure. The doctor said, if he'd come in 6 months earlier, all he would have needed was diet and rest. That fall changed everything. Now he needs regular dialysis. He can't live alone anymore. That feeling of losing control over your own health, it's more than physical. It can feel like losing a piece of your dignity, but some people choose a different path. People like Mrs. Doris, 76, living alone in Brooklyn. On the side of her fridge, she keeps a health calendar, eye exams every 6 months, a yearly endoscopy, weekly blood sugar checks. She told me, "I don't wait for my kids to check in. I know my own body. I want to stay healthy without becoming a burden." That's not weakness, that's wisdom. She's old enough to know independence doesn't just happen. You have to work for it. So ask yourself, who do you see yourself in more? Taking control isn't hard. It starts with one quiet morning, calling your old clinic, booking a basic checkup, setting a reminder for yourself instead of waiting for someone else to nudge you. It's a small step, but it could be the first one to protect your freedom. Because after 60, going for a checkup isn't about fearing illness, it's about staying strong, so you can keep living on your own terms. And when health is no longer your constant worry, what often hurts more is not a specific illness, but the silence. Have you ever felt like, even in a full house, you were the least spoken to, the kids are busy, the grandkids are running around, and somehow a whole day passes, and no one has talked to you for more than a few minutes? You don't blame them, but somewhere deep down you wonder, if I stayed silent all day, would anyone even notice? A study from the University of California found that older adults who lack meaningful connection are twice as likely to experience memory loss, and more than 3 times as likely to face depression. No bleeding, no fever, no visible pain. But inside, something begins to wither, like a plant left unwatered. Mr. Ronald, 73, lives in Oregon with 3 generations of family. To the outside world, he has everything: grandkids, shared meals, noise, warmth. But he began to lose his appetite. His sleep became restless. He seemed confused. The doctor asked, "Do you have any friends your own age?" He paused, then said, "I don't think I've seen anyone outside this house in decades." The doctor didn't prescribe a pill. He just said, "You're not lacking company, you're lacking connection." Now compare that to Mrs. Elaine, 74, in Chicago. When her daughter got married, she said, "It felt like I collapsed inside." But instead of shutting down, she joined a knitting group at her church, started volunteering at the library. Now someone checks in every week. Her phone buzzes with messages. She said, "I feel like I'm still living, not just fading into the background." You don't need a crowd, just a few people outside the family. A walking buddy, a small book club, a neighbor who always chats when it rains. Because if you don't build your own circle, one day you might realize you've become just the one who watches the house, or sets the table, or keeps the kids. And the scariest part, if you disappear, everything might just go on, as if nothing changed. So send that message. Do you still remember me? Coffee this week. Not to chase happiness, but to remind yourself, I'm not just a grandparent. I'm still a person, and I'm still here. And if any of this feels familiar, if you saw yourself in even one moment, stay with us until the end of this video. Because what comes next may be the part that matters most. The part few people say out loud, but everyone needs to hear at least once. Even if you have people to talk to, even if you have places to go, if there's nothing inside you to look forward to when you wake up, that loneliness never truly leaves. One of the scariest things after 60, waking up and realizing there's nothing waiting for me today. No alarm, no appointments, No one asking, what are you planning today? You're still breathing, still moving, but you're not sure why. A study from the University of Michigan followed over 7,000 people over the age of 60. Those with a clear sense of purpose, watering their plants, keeping a journal, learning a new language, had up to a 43% lower risk of death over 5 years. Not because they had perfect diets or took miracle pills, but because they had a reason to get up in the morning. They didn't wait for someone else to set the pace. They wrote their own next chapter, one small step at a time. But those who lost their why, they often faded quietly, unnoticed. Judith, 70 from San Jose, once said something that stayed with me. I used to wake up early to make breakfast, but when my daughter changed shifts and didn't need it anymore, I just stopped getting up. Then I stopped changing clothes in the morning, stopped cooking, stopped going outside. It's like I only function when someone needs me. Otherwise, I shut off. Her doctor later diagnosed her with early-stage depression, not because anyone did anything wrong, but because she had lost something small, yet deeply important, a sense of daily purpose. Meanwhile, William, 82, in the suburbs of Denver, still gets up at exactly 6 a.m. every single day. Not because anyone tells him to. He heads outside, waters his garden, and sticks little notes on each row. I planted this. Each afternoon, he bags up fresh greens and brings them to his older neighbor. He says, I live to see that I'm still creating something, even if it's small. Not to make someone happy, but to know I still have a reason to wake up. So if you're feeling lost or drifting through the days, start with one small thing. Water a plant, write a card, send a good morning text. Even if no one asked how you're doing, you don't have to live to prove you're useful to others. Live so that you can see. Each day still bears your mark. But even when you have something to get up for, life after 60 isn't immune to sadness, loneliness, or feeling hurt by the smallest things. That's when we need to lean on something even stronger than health or money, our own emotional resilience. Ask yourself honestly, have I handed off my happiness to someone else? Many older adults spend their days waiting for a phone call, waiting for someone to invite them out, waiting for a reason to feel needed, and when nothing happens, they feel empty. It's like their emotions have become a kite tied to someone else's hand. When the string is tugged, they smile. When it's still, they sink. They turn on the TV every night but don't remember what they watched. They laugh at an old joke, then shut off the screen, and the room feels even quieter than before. But research shows those who can create their own joy live longer and live better. A Yale University study found that older adults with a positive outlook and emotional independence had a 23% lower risk of cognitive decline compared to those who relied on others for happiness. Helen, 73 from Chicago, went through a rough patch when her kids stopped coming home as often. She started writing down one thing she was grateful for every morning. Some days it was a hot cup of tea, other days sunlight on her kitchen floor. She also learned to laugh with herself at an old memory or a video she'd recorded years ago. And slowly she realized joy was never far. It was always inside, just waiting for someone to knock. Because if we spend our lives waiting for others to bring us happiness, we may end up waiting forever. And life's not long enough for that kind of waiting. Sometimes just making hot cocoa, playing your favorite old song, or talking to your plants like they're old friends can calm your heart like a soft ray of afternoon sun. No one needs to smile at you for you to feel joy. You can smile first, and one day you might realize waiting for someone else to bring you happiness is like sitting in winter, hands freezing, still hoping for sunlight from someone else's window. Now that we've come to the end of today's video, maybe you've had a quiet moment to reflect. Ask yourself, how many of the 5 pillars are already part of my life? You don't need all of them. You don't need to do it perfectly. But starting with just one is enough to begin changing everything. Financial independence isn't just about money. It's about the freedom to make your own choices. Proactive health isn't about fear. It's an act of love for your future self. Friendships and social connection, Bring back the laughter and ease that fill the silence. A sense of daily purpose gives every morning meaning, even if no one else is watching. And emotional resilience is the one thing you can build at any age, no matter what the world outside looks like. No one can live your life for you, but you can live it with yourself, gently, one day at a time. I hope this video felt like a warm cup of tea, a quiet reminder to pause, to place your hand on your heart, and ask, have I truly been living for me? If something in this message helped you, share it with a friend. They may need it too. Or leave a comment below. I read every word, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're ready to begin, pick just one pillar and start tending to it today.